Attention, the following broadcast has been approved by Outcasted OC. Viewer discretion is advised. Incoming transmission in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Friday Night Smackdown review. You are here with G from the Outcasted OC. So our Smackdown this week is the second to last Smackdown before Crown Jewel. We have one more before Crown Jewel. But the show starts off with saying that they announce out of wrestling hours that John Cena is set for his first solo match since WrestleMania 39, and it is going to be against Solo Sikoa at Crown Jewel. So that was exciting. We then move on to Roman and Heyman make their entrance. As Roman gets to the top of the ramp, and he goes to hold his belt up. As he holds his belt up, LA Knight's music hits. LA Knight comes out, doesn't even acknowledge Roman. He interrupted that tribal chief. He does not care. He is ready for his match against Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel. So if you did not know, LA Knight does have a championship match against Roman Reigns for the Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion, which is really, really exciting. LA Knight gets into the ring. Roman is just like in disgust that LA Knight like completely did that, interrupted him. As Roman is getting into the ring, LA Knight sits in the seat at the top as the head of the table, and Roman is just like, what the hell is this guy doing? Paul Heyman tries to turn the table so that the other chair would be the head of the table, but LA Knight has got hold of the table and will not let Paul Heyman turn that table. He's like, nah. So LA Knight goes on to say that he's going to sign this contract because it says that Roman's going to hand over the belt to him. He's like, oh, this contract says that Roman Reigns is going to hand over the Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Champion to LA Knight. And he's like, so I'm going to sign it. And he signs the contract and passes it over to Roman, who did sit eventually in the other chair. He says, so what do you think, big boy? Come on, Mr. Chief. What are you saying? Roman then goes on to say, LA Knight, have you ever had a signing contract moment? Have you ever had a championship match? And he's like, no. And Roman's like, I thought so. This is your first one. And Roman's like, don't worry, sweetheart. We'll go gentle on you. The way he called him sweetheart, it had me in absolute stitches. He goes to sign the contract and the pen's not working. I don't actually think this was in the script. He's like, Paul Heyman, the pen's not working. And Paul gets him another one and he's like, I'm sorry, my tribal chief. And then Roman signs the contract. Roman goes to get up and walk away like the contract signing is over. But LA Knight then goes in with a little promo and he said, as far as it looks, I'm the head of the table at the moment, so you should acknowledge me. And Roman's like, bruh. LA Knight talks about how he's underestimating the fact that this is his first contract signing, that this is his first championship match. And even though it is his first time, he's already got the belt because Roman's underestimating the fact that he is maybe not as good as he is because it's his first time. So LA Knight goes on to say a few more things, but Roman is getting really angry at this point and he literally stands up, yeets the table at LA Knight, throws LA Knight into the turnbuckle, and then he's like moving the chairs, setting up the table properly, like he's going to throw LA Knight through the table. LA Knight manages to get back up. Roman does attempt to go to grab him to throw him through the table, but LA Knight throws a kick back at Roman before he has chance to do anything. But unfortunately, we are very rudely interrupted by Jimmy, who comes to help Roman, obviously. So Roman manages to roll out of the ring and Jimmy goes over to him and Roman's like, get him, Jimmy. And then Paul Heyman's like, Jimmy, get him. LA Knight as Jimmy turns around, LA Knight grabs him and puts him through the table. And yeah, that's where that ends. So we move on to our first match of the night. So we were supposed to be having the LWO Santos and Ray versus the Street Profits today, but Carlito is obviously out for revenge on what the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley did to him a couple of weeks ago. So Rey Mysterio actually steps aside and lets Carlito into this match. So we have the LWO, Carlito and Santos versus the Street Profits. If you didn't notice, the Street Profits do have a new theme, and it is a banging theme if you ask me. Oh my god, I do love the Bring the Swag. We bring the swag, but this new theme, it just gives a whole new heel like vibe to the Street Profits, and it is so good. So we start off with Santos and Angelo Dawkins. There is a lot of back and forth between the two of them. Santos goes in for an early pin, but Angelo Dawkins manages to kick out. They very quickly tag Carlito in. Montez is in to help. So like Carlito manages to kick Angelo Dawkins out of the ring. Montez runs in to help, but then is also thrown through the ropes. Carlito goes for a suicide dive straight through the ring onto both of them. They both all get back in the ring then. We are on Santos and Montez Ford in the ring now. Back and forth again, a little bit of a twisty, few kicks through punches. Montez is very in control though. Santos doesn't really have a chance to do much. But somehow we are very quickly tagged back into Montez and Carlito. Montez goes for a pin on Carlito, but Carlito manages to kick out. Carlito tags in Santos again. There's a lot of swapping in this match. Like, the tags are back and forth, back and forth. As this happens, as Carlito tags in Santos, Rey Mysterio is watching on a screen backstage. Unfortunately, he is very rudely attacked by Logan Paul, and Carlito's like, Santos is like, no, not Rey Mysterio. And Santos sends Carlito to go and help Rey because he's just been attacked by Logan Paul unprovoked, you know. At this point then it is a 2-on-1. We have the Street Profits against Santos. Obviously it's not fair. The Street Profits do team up on Santos. They hit him with a Revolution. Dawkins pins to win, and yeah, unfortunately the LWO lost this match due to that. So we go to a little backstage segment then of Roman sat with Paul Heyman. Heyman shows Roman a custom belt that was made for, I believe it was the Packers football team. And he's like, Roman's like, what's that? What are you going to do with that? And Heyman's like, I'm going to give it to LA Knight because this is the only championship that he'll ever have a chance to hold or win. At that point, Jimmy comes in and sits on the falls onto the sofa, and Roman's like, where have you been? And he's like, the trainer's room doing this and this and this. And Roman's like, we need to handle this problem tonight. We need to handle LA Knight tonight. And so he looks at Paul Heyman and he's like, get the match set up for tonight. We need to end this tonight. So there is then, Paul Heyman then goes and sets up a match for Jimmy and LA Knight, which will be our main event tonight. And Jimmy's like, yeet! And Roman's like, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So yeah, that's where that ended. We then see Logan Paul walking down one of the backstage arena bits, and Kathy Kelly comes over to him and he's like, oh, so I just wanted to ask you a question. You showed so much respect to Rey Mysterio last week. Why did you sucker punch him tonight? And Logan's like, you never let your opponent know what your next move is. And he like takes a mic. He's like, ha, got your mic, have it back. And then she's like, well, I wanted to ask you one more thing. And he just walks off. He just walks off. He doesn't care. He bumps into Kevin Owens, who stood around the corner, and Kevin Owens kind of like just stares. They kind of like stare each other down, Logan Paul and Kevin Owens. That would be a phenomenal match if that was something that would to become in the future. As Logan Paul walks off, Kevin Owens kind of turns, and Austin Theory and Grayson Waller are there. And he's like, oh, the punchable face guys. And they're like, yeah, you said we have punchable faces. And Kevin's like, yeah, you do have punchable faces. I would like to punch you both in the face. How about I punch you both in the face right now? I love Kevin Owens. He's literally like my soul. And he turns around and walks away. And then Kevin says to one of the officials, they do have punchable faces. And he's like, yeah, no, I know what you mean. And then it pans back to Theory and Grayson Waller. And they're like, oh, we have punchable faces. And you just see Kevin Owens' hand come straight through both of their faces. And he's like, I told you I would punch both of you and take you down. And it was such a funny segment. If you did not see it, you need to go and watch it. It was so good. So we move on to our next match, which is Shotzi versus Chelsea Green. Shotzi's in control to begin with. She doesn't give Chelsea a chance to even get up and move around. She does try to pin Chelsea pretty much within a few seconds, but Chelsea kicks out. Shotzi gets her around the neck and like bends over the ropes, so she's like backwards on the ropes, but she does manage to get out of that. Chelsea manages to gain control of Shotzi this time, and she's going in with a few punches, a few kicks. Chelsea then drop kicks Shotzi off the rope, but as she's being a little bit cocky, Shotzi rolls her up, but she does manage to kick out. So then she goes for another drop kick off the middle rope to Shotzi. Chelsea goes in for a pin on Shotzi, but Shotzi reverses that pin and rolls up Chelsea again onto her shoulders, and the ref counts to 3 and Shotzi wins. We are then greeted by John Cena, who comes out to do a little promo. He opens with the energy in this arena is special. The energy in this arena is something different. And then he's like, the energy for me tonight is serious. It's different. It's serious. I have to be serious about my match next week. He talks about the last 20 years of support, of memories, of joy, of respect that he gets from the WWE Universe. And he feels like for the first time in 20 years, he may lose that respect. He may lose that support from the fans. And he doesn't want that to happen. The fans are chanting, "You still got this." And you can literally see John Cena welling up. And he's like, I don't know if I do still have this. I don't know if I still got this. I don't know if I can do this. But he doesn't want to lose that fans interaction. And he's like, there's one thing left to do at Crown Jewel. And if that one thing left for me to do, and that's to win against his match in Solo Sikoa. And he's like, Crown Jewel is a must see. You have to see that it's my time now to deliver that win and earn that respect and support again. Paul Heyman then comes out and he gets into the ring with John Cena and he offers John Cena a handshake, and John Cena's a bit hesitant at first and Paul's like, come on, what am I going to do? What am I really going to do? John Cena does interact that handshake with Paul Heyman, which is really nice. So Paul Heyman goes on to talk about how John Cena might not be the greatest in the ring anymore. He might not be the best in the ring anymore. And that Roman has taken over that greatness as the god in the ring now. He talks about how then Cena does have something that other people do not have. Every time he gets on that mic, he has the crowd going wild. Cena is the greatest on the mic. He's like, you are the greatest on the mic. You know how to talk to the WWE Universe. He's like, if you had carried on that mic talking and that greatness, you could have been in my space right now. That's what Paul Heyman says. But he's like, one thing that will happen at Crown Jewel against Solo Sikoa, if Solo Sikoa hits you with that Samoan spike, you are going to lose your voice. Then you will lose your respect. Then you will lose your support. Then you will lose the one thing you can do, John, which is talk to the universe on the mic. Solo hits you with that spike, you're going to lose your voice. At this point, he has kind of twisted John Cena round the ring, so his back is to the ramp. And Solo Sikoa does come down and he does attack John from behind blindly. John did not see this coming. He didn't know that it was going to happen. He does hit John Cena with a Samoan spike, and John's like there on the floor like... And Solo and Paul Heyman walk off. I'm really excited to see this match against John Cena and Solo Sikoa at Crown Jewel, because I don't want John Cena to be the one to lose this match, but it's going to be an interesting match for sure. Okay, so we move on to our next match, which is Dragon Lee versus Cedric Alexander. It's really nice to see Cedric Alexander back and in the ring again. So it is, the beginning of this match is very flippy. It's very high-flying. They're like flipping over each other and flipping back and forth, as both of these wrestlers both have high-flying like ability. That is their go-to. So they're kind of just showing off their skills by like flipping over each other and stuff, which is really cool. So Cedric Alexander, they do manage to get a few punches in on each other then. Cedric Alexander goes for a pole driver to pin Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee kicks out. Dragon Lee then goes in for a pop-up powerbomb on Cedric, but Cedric manages to kick out. There is a bit of back and forth over the ropes and stuff, but Dragon Lee manages to hit his finisher. I'm really sorry, I don't know what it's called, and he does pin Cedric Alexander to win. It was quite a short match, but it was an enjoyable one. We are then greeted by none other than the EST of WWE. I am so happy Bianca is back finally. I feel like the SmackDown women's division is lacking something, and it is Bianca. That is what they are lacking. It is Bianca. I'm so happy she is back. So she comes down to the ring and she's like, I'm happy to be back in the WWE universe. We are all happy that she's back, obviously. But while she was off on injury, while she was recovering, there was one thing on her mind that she couldn't shake. There's one thing that she couldn't forget. There's one thing that kept replaying in her mind over and over again. And she shows us the clip of Damage Control and Bayley attacking her before she had her leg injury. The thing that made her leg injury an actual, like, legit, like, need to be signed off medically for a while. Bear in mind, Damage Control are watching her backstage on a screen right now. So yeah, she was like, so I've had all this time sat at home recovering, feeling the pain, trying to find a way to get revenge on Damage Control, specifically Bailey, because she's the one that initiated it all. And she was like, I couldn't let it go. I couldn't let the thoughts go. I needed to find a way to get payback. So she announces her official match against Io Sky for the Women's Championship at Crown Jewel. So we have Io versus Bianca at Crown Jewel for the Women's Championship. But then she also goes, I'm going to face off against Bailey next Friday on SmackDown. So that is that. I'm super excited for Bianca to be back. I would love to see Bianca as champion again. I know a lot of people wouldn't like that and would like to see somebody else, but Bianca is it for me. Okay, so we move on to our main event for this evening, which is Jimmy Uso versus LA Knight. They both make their entrances to the ring. It is a slow starting match. It's quite slow. For the start of it, they are trying to go in for a few punches. They're circling each other in the ring. None of them really know what to do or where to go. LA Knight gains the control with multiple punches, multiple slams to Jimmy. He does attempt to pin Jimmy, but Jimmy manages to kick out. LA Knight gets Jimmy into kind of an armbar in the centre of the ring. So then Jimmy then throws LA Knight out of the ring, but LA Knight's like, nah, and does a jump back over the ropes and manages to hit Jimmy with a backbreaker in the doing so. And then again, Jimmy throws LA Knight out of the ring again. Jimmy comes out of the ropes and he throws, like literally throws LA Knight over his ring and over his shoulders onto the back of the, on the side of the ring, which is really painful, especially if your back hits like right on the edge of the ring. So then back in the ring, then we have Jimmy throws an uppercut at LA, which means he falls into the turnbuckle. Jimmy then runs at LA from the other side of the ring into the turnbuckle, proper like full force punching him and pushing him. It like kind of looked like it completely crushed his head. LA Knight manages to counter the second time Jimmy does this and get back up. So then we have back and forth punches and kicks in the middle of the ring again. The match really isn't going anywhere at this point. They're just both at each other. LA Knight manages to hit Jimmy with a DDT again. LA Knight does another DDT to Jimmy, so it was double DDT. So then Jimmy rolls out of the ring and kind of stands by the announcer's table. LA Knight also comes out because Jimmy's kind of like looking out into the crowd, and he multiple punches Jimmy's head off the announce table. They both then get back into the ring. Jimmy hits LA Knight with a Samoan drop. LA Knight kicks out of an attempted pin there from Jimmy. They both then go up onto the ropes. Jimmy pushes LA Knight off the ropes because he's kind of like punching him from underneath. He goes for an Uso splash successfully. Tries to pin LA Knight, but LA Knight kicks out. Jimmy goes back up onto the ropes for a second attempt at an Uso splash, but LA Knight gets up and stops him. He goes for a superplex to Jimmy, then hits him with the BFT, blunt force trauma, pins Jimmy to win. Yeah, he is our megastar, LA Knight. Yeah. As LA Knight turns around, this is not the end of it. He turns around, Roman, boom, comes in the ring for him. LA Knight manages to see Roman though and dodges out of the way. Roman kind of stops and LA Knight hits Roman with the BFT, and you can just see Roman in the ring like, I don't know what just happened. And Roman kind of rolls out and LA Knight kind of shouts a few things at him about the match at Crown Jewel. But yeah, that is where our SmackDown ended tonight. So yeah, that is where our SmackDown review ended this week. If you enjoyed, make sure you hit us a like, give us a comment and subscribe, follow along for the Outcasted gang. We are on a journey here trying to give you wrestling news every week. If there are things you would like to see from the gang, specific video ideas, let us know in the comments. We do a podcast every week. We're always looking for ideas. Make sure you stay tuned for the upcoming AEW review tomorrow. There will be a Raw review on Tuesday from Courtney, NXT review on Wednesday from Reese. Our podcast next week, Thursday, is Crown Jewel predictions. And then, of course, we have next week's SmackDown review and probably a Crown Jewel review. So there's lots of content coming in regards to wrestling. We love you all so much. Make sure you check out the gang's individual socials down below. Everything is down below. And we will catch you next time for the next review. Bye!